Let's get right into it. Today, we're doing a strict clinical pronunciation diagnostic of a recent recording covering the schoolboy crisis. Zero preamble today, just a pure phonetic breakdown. We're going straight to the data to map exactly where the spoken structure deviates from the native standard, and we're going to look at exactly how to fix it. So, the overall evaluation score, it sits at a 55 out of 100. To put that into perspective, we're using a baseline where a CEFR A1 level is a 0 and a native US speaker's standard is 100. The good news here is that the core message is definitely comprehensible. It easily surpasses that A1 baseline. But here's the unvarnished truth. Critical phonotactic errors are heavily degrading the fluency and structural accuracy of the speech. Now, you might be wondering what exactly is dragging that score down to a 55. The brutal reality is severe syllable deletion. It's literally collapsing entire structural segments of the speech. We're seeing a really frequent systematic omission of word final consonant clusters. And when you start deleting syllables in multisyllabic words, you're not just sounding non-native anymore. You are actively destroying grammatical agreement within the sentences. Section 1. Phonetic Symbol Diagnostic. Here we have the complete phonetic symbol diagnostic matrix. As you'll hear, these scores range from a low of 25 all the way up to a 65. Think of these as the exact stress points where the speech structure is fracturing. Let's break down the most significant of these clinical rationales, and we'll take them group by group, starting from the absolute bottom. All right, focusing on the most severe failures. The Z sound is sitting at a dismal 25 out of 100. It's basically dropping entirely at the ends of words, which absolutely wrecks plural noun morphology. For instance, the word areas just becomes area. Then we have the S sound at 30. It vanishes entirely from consonant clusters and verb endings, like completely dropping the S in exists. And the D sound at 35, it's getting completely wiped out during syllable collapse in complex words. Moving up to the mid-tier phonetic errors, the unstressed schwa scores a 40. Now, instead of being properly reduced, which, by the way, is absolutely crucial for the rhythm of American English, these syllables are just being bypassed altogether. Then there's the A vowel at 60, which shows really inconsistent articulation in words like active or classrooms, sometimes narrowing way too closely to an ah sound. Finally, the rhotic R at 65. The R sound is present, but it's highly inconsistent in connected speech. Sometimes it's even added where it literally shouldn't be, like saying poorer instead of poor. Section 2. Word-level gap analysis. Let's shift gears from isolated sounds to practical application. This gap analysis provides an objective contrast between the target U.S. English standard and the actual recorded spoken errors. It ranks the top 10 pronunciation failures from the most impactful down to the slightly less severe. Let's zoom in on these top challenges to see exactly what went wrong. The most catastrophic failure here is our rank 1 word post-secondary, coming in at a 15. We see massive syllable collapse here. The middle syllables totally vanish, turning post-secondary into an unrecognizable post-secondary. Rank 2 is exists at 25, where the final consonant cluster completely fails, dropping the S and breaking the grammar. And rank 3, areas at 30, loses its plural marker because the final vowel completely fails to link to that required Z sound. Moving down the list, number 4 is consequences at 40. This manifests as a severe rhythmic stumble across its 4 syllables, with a total failure to reduce the vowels. Rank 5, environments at 45, has this really blurred terminal sound. The consonant cluster assimilation just fails, effectively swallowing the final ents. And rank 6, dropout, at 50, sounds disjointed simply because of a failure to use a glottal stop or properly link that final T. Rounding out our top 10, number 7 is physical at 55. It suffers from weak resonance and completely lacks that dark L sound at the end. Rank 8, traditional, at 60, has a really muddy transition in the initial cluster. Rank 9, evaluate, at 65, just lacks crispness when moving from the V to the gliding vowels. And finally, number 10, university, at 70. While it definitely remains intelligible, misplacing the primary stress heavily alters the natural cadence of the entire sentence. This brings us to a hard, objective truth. Critical phonotactic errors require immediate, targeted intervention. I cannot stress this enough. These are not just minor, innocent slips of the tongue. These are foundational, structural errors that actively degrade the core mechanics and grammar of the spoken language. They require deliberate, uncompromising correction if you want to achieve structural accuracy. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Structural integrity requires targeted intervention. The data doesn't lie, it's all right there. Based on the rigorous, objective breakdown we just walked through, which phonetic cluster are you going to fix first? Is it going to be the plural Z, the vanished S, the collapsed multisyllabic words? Accountability for your phonetic improvement starts with the very next sentence you speak.